It's a big deal for Hill, and it's more than what the Chiefs wanted to pay. That's what it came down to. The Chiefs and Hill were working out a deal. Hill wanted everything, and the Chiefs got to the point where they said, we're not going to do it. That's a gutsy move by the Chiefs, and it could blow up in their faces because, it's exactly what the Packers are going through right now. You trade your top receiver. Okay, what do we do now? I mean, at least they have Travis Kelce in Kansas City, but Travis Kelce is going to be a different weapon without Tyreek Hill there, and they better hope they find somebody in the draft. Somebody was asking me earlier, well, what do the Chiefs do now? It's like, well, they use every draft pick they have on anybody who can run a 4.3, and you just weed them out. That's all you can do, And we see all these fast guys. It gets back to the combine. All those guys running 4.3. I remember telling Sims, the bad news from that falls to the veteran receivers because you got all these young guys coming in, and they're on wage scale contracts, and you're going to have teams say, forget about a big-name veteran that wants a bunch of money. I'll just go get one of these guys that runs a 4.3. And Patrick Mahomes is going to make whoever it is look a hell of a lot better than he otherwise would be.
Well, that's what I was saying, when we opened the show, right? Like, it makes a lot more sense for Kansas City to make a move like this than any other team that would have a guy with the caliber of Tyreek Hill. And frankly, I think that if you're talking about like the weapons that Patrick Mahomes has, Travis Kelce is probably a little bit more important to that offense than Tyreek Hill. And I don't want that to come off as me taking anything away from a player as good as Tyreek Hill is, who is liable to score a touchdown every single time he touches the ball. But if you look at what Travis Kelce does, he not only catches the ball, but he is so involved in blocking in the run game. All right, so I guess that makes him just a tinge more valuable if you're talking about those two guys as weapons. But, I mean, whenever you're deleting a guy who is the caliber of Hill off of an offense, it's going to make them demonstratively worse. And frankly, as long as the Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce, in my mind, they were still the favorites in the AFC West. I don't know if that's necessarily the case anymore. That's because we're talking about one of the elite of elite wide receivers, somebody who Patrick Mahomes would absolutely look to when times were tough. All right, you have one of those two guys. There's either going to be Hill or Kelce, and we've known that for the last few years since Mahomes took over as a starter. So if the Chiefs are going to do this, yeah, you're going to have to bring in somebody who can at least play some of that role within the offense. Hardman's a guy who they've had for a few years. We know he's also very fast. I don't think he's all of a sudden magically going to become Tyreek Hill. I don't really see that happening. But I also think that if there's any team and any coach who has enough cachet so that we can say, like, yeah, I think they'll be okay from this, it's Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it's not like Tyreek Hill was some first-round pick. He was a fifth-round pick, Mike. So they have shown an ability to draft and develop guys.
He was a fifth-round pick for one very important reason. He had some horrible off-field issues. One specific. Yes. They got him kicked out of Oklahoma State.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons why he fell all the way to round 5. Everybody knew he could run. There was concern about him off the field. Yes. But he and here's the other thing too, because I saw MDS point out earlier that Tyreek Hill is going to miss Patrick Mahomes more than Patrick Mahomes misses Tyreek Hill. Let me read these stats off to you.
Mm-hmm.
75 catches. 1,183 yards, 15.8 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns in 15 games. That's what Tyreek Hill did with Alex Smith as the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, not Patrick Mahomes. That was 2017, the year that Mahomes was on the bench, and it was a Pro Bowl season for Tyreek Hill in his second year in the NFL. So now I'm not saying that Alex Smith and Tua Tagovailoa or Teddy Bridgewater, they're comparable. All I'm saying is Tyreek Hill was Tyreek Hill before Patrick Mahomes became the starter. It helped to have Patrick Mahomes because he can get it to Tyreek Hill wherever he is. That is going to be the key. There's going to be a point where Tyreek Hill runs so deep with Tua or Teddy at quarterback, the safety back there is just going to shrug and say, keep running. It's not like they're going to get you the football. Mahomes would.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's going to be a limit to how far Tyreek Hill can stretch a defense because they're going to have in their head what the range of the quarterback throwing the football is. And also, if you need to have enough time. And if you don't have enough time, you need to buy time. Mahomes can buy time. And the skill set for Tyreek Hill, because not all receivers are made the same. Tyreek Hill is incredible. Tyreek Hill is the most dangerous weapon who isn't a quarterback in my mind in the NFL. He's blazing fast. He can stop and start on a dime. He accelerates. He jumps. He gets open. The Super Bowl win, he got open on that play, that jet chip wasp play, where Patrick Mahomes pulls a rabbit out of his hat, but somebody's got to play the role of the rabbit, and that was Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's when the times were tough, when it's third and long, when you have to have a play, that's the guy that Patrick Mahomes will look to time and time again. I mean, like I said, it's either him or Travis Kelce. And so that kind of thing is basically irreplaceable. And he's liable to score a touchdown, like I said, on pretty much every play. Ask the Buffalo Bills how fast this guy is when he catches the ball and basically just runs up the field late in the fourth quarter in that amazing playoff game that we saw in the divisional round this year. I mean, there are things that the Chiefs just are not going to be able to do anymore now that Tyreek Hill is not there. And so, I mean, you could maybe make the argument that it kind of allows Patrick Mahomes to spread the ball around more because he doesn't necessarily have that go-to guy or whatever. But I mean, who cares about spreading the ball around when you have one of the elite offensive weapons on your team? And really, you had two of them. Now you only have one in Travis Kelce, and they've got to somehow replace that kind of production.
Silver lining. Let me say this first, though. The Tyreek Hill outrunning the Bills' defense and throwing up the deuces at a guy who was closer to the end zone than Hill was. That's what's amazing about it. He's doing this to a guy who is closer to the end zone but has no chance of closing in with the angle, and he knew it. Tyreek Hill knew it and ran the whole way. Football in one hand, hands up with the other. Maybe. I mentioned this earlier, but I didn't really delve into it.
Okay.
What if, think of the tension that Patrick Mahomes has been dealing with, because what does Mahomes want to do every single play? What does he want to do? He wants to run him out with his hair on fire. He wants to stop or not stop and fling the ball 70 yards down the field, right, to Tyreek Hill. If you don't have Tyreek Hill, the temptation to hit a home run on any/every given play is gone. And we saw last year more of an effort by Mahomes to work the underneath and take what's there. And yes, when you have Tyreek Hill stretching the field, there's more space for your receivers to operate. But you know what? With Travis Kelce and Juju Smith-Schuster, they don't need a whole lot of space. They're open. Get them the ball. They don't care about getting hit after the catch. So maybe this is the ultimate antidote to the Patrick Mahomes temptation to fire the ball 70 yards down the field, because there's nobody who's going to be 70 yards down the field to catch it. Now, Mecole Hardman, I'm intrigued by. Contract year for him. Can he step into that role? That was the guy that they drafted in round 2 on the draft weekend where there was some new, I don't want to say allegation because it never came to that, but there was a new set of circumstances that caused people to think Tyreek Hill was potentially going to be in trouble again. And an incident with his small child, and there were never any accusations, allegations. It never went anywhere. But at the time, it felt like something was off. Remember, he voluntarily stayed away from the offseason program at the team's direction. It was all blown over by the time training camp rolled around. But Hardman was the guy that we thought was going to be groomed to be the next Tyreek Hill. And now the job falls on Brett Veach, because Byron Pringle's gone. DeMarcus Robinson's gone. Sammy Watkins is long gone. And they still wait for that other guy to step up. Well, when they get the other guy in Juju, now you need the number one guy. And I suspect they're going to draft somebody who's really fast. And if I'm that guy, I'd much rather play for Patrick Mahomes than anybody else. So it's going to work out potentially well. As long as the guy can catch the football, if it's thrown his way, you're going to have a good match. And $70 million in cap dollars over the next 3 years and 5 extra draft picks. And, I don't know. I don't know if Tyreek Hill was a pain in the butt for them or not. Remember, there was that one game where he was getting into it with somebody on the sideline, and they cut away real quick, and it was like it never even happened. I don't know how hot-headed he is or isn't. But to the extent that he is, and they kind of exhausted their patience with him, they've moved past that issue as well.
Well, True, true. I mean, I do think that it would make a lot of sense for the Chiefs to go out and draft one of these really fast guys. You know, Mike, it's interesting, too, to me, because when you have an elite QB, so now we've seen this with the Packers and the Chiefs, right, trading away the top wide receiver that was on the team, and ostensibly they're going to have to go out and get somebody to replace that guy, but you can't use one guy to replace Devontae Adams or Tyreek Hill, especially if they're a young guy in their draft picks, right? Like, that's just not something that's going to happen. You can't expect somebody to come in and be like Justin Jefferson every single year, Jamar Chase every single year. That's not going to happen, especially when you're picking where the Chiefs or the Packers are going to be picking in the first round. However, I think that there is maybe at this point some thinking with teams that they can go and they can replace different guys at wide receiver in somewhat the same way that teams kind of think about running backs right now. And based on the price tag of what the elite wide receivers are making now, that kind of makes sense to me. Because if you don't want to pay somebody that much money when you're already paying your quarterback great gloobly globs of money, and that's exactly what these teams should be doing when you're talking about Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, they elevate everybody around them, then you're almost saying like, okay, well, you guys can have the guy that we have trained and we've made better, and we think that, you know, he's probably not going to be as good with your QB as he is with our QB, but we can bring in somebody maybe with a first round pick that we then have under our team control for at least 4 years. You get the 5th-year option, and maybe you use the franchise tag. All right, so I kind of understand that strategy from the standpoint of if you have a team that has an elite quarterback that you're paying elite quarterback money, you have to use the rest of your salary cap wisely, and that's one way to do it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.